It's a real regime almost.
Oh, hell no.
They're talking about me.
All I needed was one ball.
The science of training.
And I know you don't think it's a sport.
Well, first of all, I just want to say congratulations, man. That's huge, man. I was really happy for you win. You know, it was a great show, and I know you've been chasing this title for a while, man. So I know you must be feeling amazing right now.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming, man. It's been an absolute dream come true, and for it to actually happen, it's definitely overwhelming, and I'm very excited for it.
Well, you were so focused, man, because we were trying to do this interview before the Olympia, and your team was like, he's just focused right now. He doesn't want to do anything but train and just get this title, man.
Yeah, I mean, all year I kind of didn't really want to get involved with any type of interviews or anything, and it kind of showed as well with my training. Whereas I stayed covered up, I didn't post progress pictures. I didn't want to get involved with anything. I just wanted to focus on the show, coming to the show my all-time best, and then let things happen the way they happen. So I just kept my eye on the prize the whole time.
I know, man. That's amazing. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about you focusing on this competition, obviously. Last year you did well, obviously, right? You did very well last year, and you were chasing this title, man. And talk about the preparation for this. What was different? And what did you?
Yeah, so coming home last year from the 2019 Olympia, placing third was, obviously an ultimate motivation for me. But as soon as I got home, I didn't take any time off. I got right back to work. Both my coaches, Matt Jansen and John Meadows, we all sat down together. We put together a program for, obviously, our off season. And then, obviously, we all got hit with the pandemic and the COVID. And honestly, it didn't really stop me because I had an amazing friend who has a private gym that he gave me the key to. And I literally trained there for 3 or 4 months while everything was closed in New Jersey. And I've gone on record already and said this has probably been the best off season I've had because his gym was straight bare bones, dumbbells, barbells, that's it. No cables, no fancy machines, nothing. So I literally was forced to kind of go back to my old school way of, the old school movement, the barbell rows, the squatting, the dumbbell rows, everything that was just a lot of guys shy away from because it hurts or it's too much. I was doing that, and my body soaked it all up. And obviously, again, we continued to train all year round. And then once we started prep, things started to open back up here in Jersey. And we were still kind of unsure what was going on with, the Olympia, if it's still going to go on, when it's going to happen. But we finally got the word that was going to happen in December. So obviously, we prepared for that. We started at 21 weeks. And I kind of just wanted to kind of go back to my old way of doing things, whereas I trained in baggy sweatpants and baggy shirts. I didn't talk much. I didn't do any interviews. I didn't post any progress pictures. Again, I just wanted to stay focused and keep the tension off of me. And I didn't really focus on what other guys were doing or what they looked like because me taking time to focus on that guy takes away from me, and that can't happen. There were a lot of people who probably didn't even have me on the radar this year simply because I didn't post anything. And that's fine because I knew what I was bringing, and I knew that I was going to, shock a lot of people, which we did this weekend. So what we put together is from start to finish, obviously played out the way we expected it to, and we got the results we wanted.
Amazing. So you put on more weight this year, right? Compared to last year? What was your stage weight last year and this year in comparison?
My stage weight last year was 169. My stage weight this year was 177.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So that was strategic, right? You wanted to obviously dominate, and you wanted to present a package that was obviously the bigger on stage than last year.
Well, that's the consensus that I get when I talk to judges. It's like, hey, what do I need to improve on? It's like you got the structure, you got the conditioning, you just need to get bigger. So I was like, no problem. So again, I got up to my heaviest this off season. I got up to about 200, 201, which is the heaviest I've ever been, and that's when we obviously started dieting down for Olympia, and I wanted to be able to maintain that muscle and that new size. So my diet going into Olympia was I was still eating a ton of food up until about 6 weeks out. I was still having cheat meals just to be able to maintain my weight and to be able to maintain my strength going to the show. And again, the plan that Matt planned out and Matt and John put together for me worked out perfect.
Mm-hmm. So obviously Kamal is he's a very fierce competitor, man, and a lot of people say it was very close this year. It was a close battle. So take me through prejudging. How did you feel during prejudging? Did you feel like you were on top? Did you feel like you were leading at that point?
Yeah, no. First and foremost, Kamal is an amazing champion, and he's well known for his conditioning. And I think that was one of the key areas we've really honed in this year, was trying to match his conditioning with the new size. When prejudging started, we're all backstage. We're kind of getting into that zone, right? And we first get that first call out, and I think it's myself, Kamal, George, and Derek Lunsford. I had no idea where I was going to go. Again, I can't look to my left. I can't look to my right. I don't know who looks like what. I just knew that it was me and Kamal pretty much dead center. And again, you just can't beat the champ. You have to knock him out. So I was literally giving everything I had, every single pose, squeezing as hard as I possibly can, just to kind of edge him out. And even after prejudging is over, you just don't know. And all I can really control is going back to the room and coming in better for the night show and ready to battle again. So that's what we did. We went back to the room after prejudging. I didn't look at any pictures. I didn't look at any photos, videos, anything. I just wanted to come into the night show better than I was in the morning, more relaxed, and again, just hungry to get back out there and battle and go one more round.
Yeah, man, that was a crazy battle, man. I don't know what the point difference was, but I was told that it was very close. Like it was a couple of points, 1 point, whatever. But the battle was very tough, And I was talking to Dennis James the other day, and he said that your condition was just top notch, like you were 100% conditioned, and that could have been the reason why you won. But ultimately, looking back at the pictures and talking to your coaches, that can to achieve that type of condition, right? Now you're always gonna kind of live up to that, you know what I'm saying? Because that was just perfection, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I'm one of those guys that I always tell myself I can't go backwards. And what I mean by that is I can't place any lower than I've ever placed, and I have to always bring a new look. So the look you guys saw this year at 177 pounds was, again, my best look ever to date. But I know going into 2021, it has to be better because now I have a target on my back, and these guys are chasing me. And at the same time, I got to be better than myself. Again, I'm not focusing on the guys behind me. I'm focusing on myself and moving forward. So we do plan on putting on a little bit more size in key areas, and again, keeping that conditioning a priority.
Yeah, man, definitely. But do you feel like it's gonna be tougher next year as far as coming up with that type of condition and size? I mean, that's got to be, you know what I mean? That's a challenge.
Yeah. No, I mean, again, I'm one of those guys who's a stickler for conditioning. So I kill myself when it comes to getting in shape. I don't think I've ever been off when it comes to being on stage. That's one area that I have to be perfect in. And that's one thing I can control. I can make sure my diet's 100%. I can make sure I'm doing more cardio. Certain things are in your control, obviously, right? I'm not the tallest guy. I can't control that. What I can control is being the best me and being the most complete athlete on that stage. And conditioning is something I can absolutely control and plan to control going forward and making sure that I'm at my all-time best no matter what.
What was your typical day like during training? How much rest do you get? Like, what time do you wake up? Can you take us through your daily routine?
Yeah, it's pretty boring, but yeah, I'm up at 4 o'clock in the morning with my girlfriend. We're in the gym by 4:30 a.m. doing cardio, whether it's 30 minutes, 45 minutes. We'll do that, and we'll train abs and core for another 20, 25 minutes. I'll go home. I'll get my supplements in. I'll shower up, and I have my first meal. And then from there, I'm just going to relax for a couple hours, get my next 3 meals in throughout the day. And then we'll be back in the gym at night at 5:30 to train for about another 2 hours. We'll train. I might tan a little bit. I might do a bit of posing at the gym since we now have a posing studio there. And then I'll get home, have my last meal around 8:39, and then I'm right in bed around 10 or 11, and it was starting the day over again the next morning.
Mm-hmm. Now, what is the importance of cardio, an empty stomach cardio, right? So you don't eat anything, you wake up and go straight to the gym, right? Talk about the importance of that.
Well, there's a few reasons why I prefer to do that. Because one, it kind of gets my day started, kind of gets me in that kind of just get that schedule going for me. It helps me get focused for the day. But also because I have no food in my stomach from the night before, I feel like it targets the fat cells a lot quicker than if I were to put in a lot of food. So if I were to do my cardio, say after a couple of meals, you're full of food, your stomach's pretty bloated. It's gonna be a lot harder to really target that fat cells. So again, for me, I like to do it first thing in the morning, empty stomach, and kind of also get out of the way because honestly, doing cardio after weight training is just brutal, man. I mean, I just kill myself training for 2 hours, the last thing I want to do is drag myself to the Stairmaster for another 45 minutes. But again, it's possible to do it after training if you don't have the time to do it first thing. There's no right or wrong. It's just what works best for your schedule.
I was gonna ask you actually. So you do Stairmaster, and what's the pace like? Is it fast, slow? Like what's the right tempo?
So I prefer the Stairmaster. I've always said the harder the better. I keep my level around 7 or 8, so my heart rate is anywhere between 150 and 160, and I just like to work up a really good sweat. Steady state. I don't do any HIT or anything. Just really work up a good sweat, a good pace, and just try to burn as many calories as I possibly can.
Now you mentioned your girlfriend. I know you've been posting her, always praising her and stuff like that. What's the importance of dynamic, having a a good obviously life at home. You know what I'm saying? So like a support mechanism. You know what I'm saying? Talk about the importance of that for a bodybuilder.
I mean, she keeps me sane, man. I mean, she's kind of like my second eye as well. She keeps me sane because we can get into our own heads, obviously, and we can go crazy. So she's very super supportive. She's in the gym with me every single day. She trains with me every single day. She's been to all the Olympias, hasn't missed a show whatsoever. She's just there for me, pushes me, motivating me. Again, my second eye. She's kind of like my coach in the sense that, she's not going to tell me I look good if I look like shit. So she'll take some of my practice pictures. She'll critique me. She'll give me her opinion, and she say, "Hey, you need to work on this, work on that." And she kind of, relates that information to my coach as well. So especially closer toward the end of prep, where I'm just kind of just not there. If my coach has a question, he'll call her or text her to check on me or get some information. So having a good support system is key. In order to be successful, I believe.
For sure. So going to next year's Olympia, are you only going to do Olympia from that point on? Are you going to do any other shows or just Olympia going forward?
As of right now, the focus is Olympia and retain the title.
Mm-hmm.
So,
do you feel more pressure going in the next one? Obviously, you're the champ now, and obviously, people expect, for you to continue your reign. You know what I mean? Like, do you feel more pressure not losing the title?
No, I don't feel any pressure at all, man, to be honest with you. Again, I know what has to be done in order to retain the title. Again, I have to continue to move forward, continue to improve. For me personally, prep starts January 2nd. And when January 2nd comes around, the medal that I have from winning this weekend goes away. And in my eyes, I'm still chasing the title as if I don't have it. So a lot of guys kind of get caught up in saying, "Hey, I'm the champ," and they kind of get, relaxed, right? For me, man, that medal goes away, and I almost like I'm not the champ anymore. I'm still going to be chasing the titles if I don't have it. So I just want to continue to make me hungrier, more determined, and continue to want to improve and be better. Again, I have to come into 2021 and just knock everyone out, kill everything in sight. I don't want to make this easy for anyone. So I plan on keeping this title, and it's not going anywhere anytime soon.
So let's talk about Men's Open, man. How did you feel about this year's Men's Open, Mr. Olympia?
Oh man, it was awesome. I mean, it was great to see Phil back. Obviously, I'm friends with everyone, and I expected that top call out to be exactly what it was. Personally, I would love to see my man Daxter go out with another title, but I'm just happy to be there to witness his last show. Rami, man, he's very much improved. He was definitely a guy that everyone was talking about for years. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to deliver in years past, but it was great to see it all come together. He's an awesome dude, man, so humble. He really, really brought the conditioning that we all expected and hoped for. His posing was top notch. I mean, he's just a monster on stage when it comes to size, and I think it was absolutely deserved for sure.
It's crazy. You mentioned Dexter Jackson, and what's interesting, like people always put a pressure on him. He's gonna win the title, but like he's still the top competitor. You know what I mean? All the way up to his retirement. Like he never really fell off ever. You know what I mean? That's incredible on its own.
I don't think we'll ever see that again. Another guy, 51 years old, winning 29 pro shows and still competing into his 50s and still being a top 10 competitor at the Olympia level. He's an absolute legend, an icon. Man, there's not enough words to say about Dexter. Not enough.
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, I know that he definitely deserves to be in the top 5, I think, of all time, honestly. Just if you look at all the track record and all the way up to retirement, it's like you can't, you know what I mean? He needs to be in that conversation.
I mean, for me, he's the GOAT. He's the greatest of all time. Yeah, everyone's going to say Ronnie, and everyone's going to base it off Olympia titles, right? And I get it. But for me, it's more than just Olympia title. It's what he's done during that course. 50 years old, 29 wins. He has Olympia title. He has 9 Arnold titles. He's done so much more than a lot of these other guys that, for me, he's the greatest of all time.
Definitely. That's definitely you can make an argument for that 100%. All right, so Big Ramy, right? So were you at the finals? Did you see the finals like live there?
Absolutely.
Man, so like, did you expect that outcome? Did you expect that the placing to come the way they did?
Going into the finals before seeing anything, no. I think obviously we all have that expectation that based off what we last saw about the competitors, like he hasn't really delivered yet, so we're all expecting that, right? So going into the finals, I assume it would be Brandon, William, Hottie, and Phil battling for that top four. And then when we got the when Big Ramy got the invite, it was like, okay, we'll see what's gonna happen. And man, he absolutely delivered. I mean, sitting there watching pose for pose, it was clear to me that he outsized everyone. I feel the conditioning was almost better than everyone. Man, he just blew everyone. It was to me, it was a clear cut decision.
That's
Crazy.
That's amazing. Because yeah, like you said, going into Olympia, I don't think anybody really considered him winning. You know what I mean? Like, obviously he's a top level competitor, but like just specifically right now because of the Phil's comeback, I feel like the spotlight was 100% on him.
Absolutely.
So Hadi Chupan, he got fourth place this year, and he comes from the 212 division, right? I'm sure you probably competed against him at one point at some show, have you? I'm sure.
Yeah, I competed Hadi in Korea.
There you go. So he moved to men's open clearly, and he could have been, people say he could have even placed higher this year, right? So how do you feel about that? How do you feel about his dominance and his climb to success?
It's awesome because he himself as well as William Bonac were two guys that came from the 212 and dominated the Open, which is awesome to see that. Again, I've seen people don't realize how good Hadi really is in person until you're right there up on him, and this guy is just jam packed, full of compact muscle. The conditioning, he's an absolute freak. To see him place third last year, it was definitely well deserved. This year, I mean, just based on what I saw, I wouldn't have argued if he was second this year. To be honest with you, he's that good. He's always bringing that funky conditioning. He's got crazy muscle. It's round. It's dense. But again, Phil's a freak. Brandon's a freak. They got that 3D muscle. The judges definitely had their, what worked. Had to really work for that one. And but again, I wouldn't have complained if he was second. Yeah.
They saying Ramy won because of conditioning this year. Like he finally brought the conditioning to the point where he was completely better than everybody else. Undoubtedly. Do you feel like, ultimately speaking, right, because he's bigger, any condition, that's always going to basically be the dominant factor of winning, right? If let's say Hadi comes in just as conditioned, but he's going to be like differences.
Yeah. It's still bodybuilding. You still have to have some muscle. Not only did Big Ramy have the conditioning and the size, but his posing presentation was on point. And I think that's something that he's lacked in the past. If we were to go back and look at past Olympias or the past shows, I don't think he was as confident as he was on stage. I don't think he was as holding his poses as long as he needed to. And if you don't realize, you can be the best guy on that stage, but if you're not holding those poses, showing the judges you really want it, and be able to dominate, then it's pointless. And he came in this weekend with everything, needed to be the champion, and he walked away rightfully so, the champion.
Is it enduring? Like, is it difficult to when they compare you, like when they like the judges like keep comparing, like is it for those who don't understand, right, being on stage, like how much physically enduring it is to continue hitting the poses, and even when they switch you around, just to maintain, what I'm saying, how much physically difficult it is to do.
Yeah, for someone who doesn't understand, who's never done that, it's like training. It's like weight training or doing cardio just nonstop. You're holding your pose, you're squeezing. It's definitely painful. But for the athlete, you should expect that. This is what we do. So you should be practicing your poses every single day. I mean, for me personally, I practice my posing all year round, even on off season, because I know once I get on stage, I don't know what to expect. I could be on stage for 30 seconds, or I could be on stage for 30 minutes. I mean, I've been on stage as much as 40. I've been on stage in my career. The longest time was 42 minutes in a prejudging straight. And because I'm used to just going through that. So when I get up there, man, I always have to be ready for anything. And again, the judges are looking. The judges want to break you. They want to see who's going to break first. So and who really wants it first. So if it's a tight battle between one guy and another guy, they're going to make those two guys work and see who really wants it. See who breaks first. The guy who breaks first, the guy usually is going to end up second for the most part, I believe. And that guy who's able to pose and hold and squeeze and show they really want it is usually going to be the guy that comes out on top.
For sure, man. All right, Shaun. So what's next for you, man? What do you have planned? What's the next move?
Yeah, so now we're back home, man, and I just want to celebrate this win with my family. Obviously, get through the holidays, but again, once January 2nd rolls around, we're back to work. The off season will be starting soon. Hopefully, we'll get a schedule as far as what the Olympia plans to do as far as the date and location. And once we have that, we can kind of really map out a good game plan for my off season and then going into prep. Again, the goal for 2021 is to kill everything in sight. I want to come into the 2021 Olympia bigger, better, improved. What you guys saw this past weekend, it's gonna be even crazier next year. I can promise you that.